Now we have 108 bottles of Coke Zero, 540 Mentos mint candies. We are gonna make a mess.
Who likes messes?
Now we should introduce ourselves.
You're in the right place.
My name is Fritz, and I used to be a professional juggler.
My name is Steven, and I used to be a trial lawyer. This is a stupider job, come on.
We seem to be experts at doing stupid things. But that is why we are here at Maker Faire, the home of people who do awesome stupid things. Yes, indeed. So, now we first made a video, oh gosh, back in 2006. And we put it online, and we just thought, you know, we've done something cool. But it had taken us 6 months to get there. And here's a little bit of our journey.
So a friend of mine told me about this basic thing. You drop Mentos into Diet Coke, and you get a geyser. And I never tried it, but I was going to visit Fritz the next weekend. I came up, and I brought some. And I said, have you heard about this crazy thing where... And he was like, let's try it. And so we tried it, and if you have not tried it, you must do it yourself. Just one simple bottle, one handful of Mentos, and you will never forget the experience. So of course, when I did it with Fritz, what he said was,
let's get more. Now it took us about 6 months of tinkering. We tried all kinds of different things, but I'll tell you how we did it at first. How we did it at first was we drilled a hole in every single Mentos mint and threaded them onto pieces of fishing line that then hung down inside the bottle with a little binder clip holding it in place. So literally, what you see on our video on YouTube and what we did on the Letterman show and on the Today Show and all over the planet, initially, we had to drill holes in every single one. That meant that to go on, for the very first time we went on live television, we had to drill holes in, wait for it, 3,000 Mentos.
Wow.
And what my favorite part was that I had my hand drill, and then we had our crew with a drill press, and we had a man versus machine race. Me going, and the drill press going, I did win. I did win. I could not use my right arm for 24 hours after that, but I did win. Now, if there is one lesson that you take away from your time here at the EepyBird Coke and Mentos show, if there's one lesson that you take away from your time here at Maker Faire Bay Area, we hope that it is this. Try this at home. Absolutely. Here's a little bit of how you can do this yourself.
So today we have nozzles on top of all of our bottles. There's a little bit, we'll tell you how we make them later. But you don't need the nozzles we have. To do it yourself, all you need is a piece of paper, a few Mentos, a playing card or a business card, and you just take the piece of paper, you roll it up into a tube, like Fritz is doing now, and then he's going to take the playing card and put it on the bottom of the tube, drop the Mentos in the tube, and the playing card will hold all those Mentos in place. Now you have to do it like this because if you try and put the Mentos in by hand after the first or second Mentos, the soda's already coming out of the bottle and you can't get all of them in. And you need all of them in for the most effect. So as Fritz is doing now, you drop all 5 or 6 Mentos into the tube, you place that whole assembly over the mouth of the bottle, and when he pulls that card out, the Mentos will drop into the bottle and we'll see what happens. 3, 2, 1, pull. Arms up. And that's the most important thing. After you do your geyser, always throw your arms up in the air. Even if it doesn't work, you always throw your arms up. Now we can't do that paper tube method with 108 bottles up here. So we have these nozzles, as you see on top of all the bottles, there's these little white tubes. We made these ourselves, being makers. It's just a piece of PVC. The main white tube is a piece of PVC. It's just plastic plumbing, a cap, a PVC plumbing cap on top, and then a hole drilled at the bottom of that tube, a little pinhole on each side, and a wire pin that goes through that. So the pin does the same thing as the card does. You put the Mentos into that tube, put the pin across, and then the pin holds all those Mentos, and when we pull the pin out, the Mentos drop into the bottle, and you get the same reaction you got there, except the geyser comes out of the nozzle, which has a hole in the top that's smaller than the open bottle mouth, so you get a higher geyser, and we can make different variations. So this is what the basic nozzle looks like. 3, 2, 1, pull! Arms up. And I think Chris got a little wet.
Oh, man.
I've got to ask you just a favor. Everyone near the stage, listen up. Please keep your hands off the stage. Only because during the show we come running by and we don't want to trip and we don't want to hurt you. So here's another nozzle. This one I can tell, if you look carefully, you can see that the nozzles have different colored stripes at the top of them. This one has an orange stripe, which means it has a different set of holes on top, and that looks like this. 3, 2, 1, pull! So if you make these yourself, you can drill whatever shape you want in the top of the nozzle. In fact, they don't have to be round holes. This one, we just took a hacksaw and cut a slot all the way across the top of the nozzle. So that gives a different effect. And that looks like this. 3, 2, 1, pull! Yes.
Now, you being makers, you don't have to stop there. But, oh, wait, there's one super important thing you should know. If you're going to build this kind of nozzle yourself, you need to know what kind of glue to use. We tried, to bond the cap and the pipe and the tube, it's just PVC cement. You got two pieces of PVC, super easy to bond those together. But down here, you got two different kinds of plastic, and you got very little surface area. We tried dozens of different kinds of glues before we found the right adhesive. So here's what you're gonna need. You're gonna need some 3M Scotch-Weld DP8005 structural plastic adhesive. Oh yeah, make some noise for DP8005. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I love it. Nowhere but Maker Faire with Scotch-Weld DP8005 structural plastic adhesive. Get a round of applause. Absolutely. But you being makers, you're not going to stop there. You can attach whatever you can think of to the tops of your bottles. Here's just one little tiny piece of inspiration. That's a lawn sprinkler from Home Depot. And when we let the Mentos drop into the bottle, that sprays up the tube and then out the sprinkler. So when you make yours, be creative with what you attach to the top. I'm very wet already. Now, one of the most important questions we get asked is, what is it about this combination of Mentos mint candies and Diet Coke or Coke Zero? What is it about this combination that makes this explosive reaction happen? And you would think that it would be a chemical reaction. You'd think it would be something about the ingredients of the soda and the ingredients of the candy. But in fact, it's primarily a physical reaction. It's primarily a physical reaction called nucleation. And you can see nucleation in action if you take your finger and put it into a cup of soda pop. You'll see bubbles forming around the ridges of your finger. And what's happening is that you got all this carbon dioxide, you got all this fizz in the soda pop. It's saturated and it's under pressure, it's looking for somewhere to go. It's trying to get out of that solution. It will grab onto anything bumpy it can find, like the ridges of your finger. So it turns out that the surface of Mentos mint candies, if you look at them under a microscope, you will see literally hundreds of thousands of tiny little microscopic bumps. And that's because the final stage in the creation of a Mentos is we got to go to Holland and see where they're all made. They throw them into, like hundreds of them, into these giant rock tumblers. They're like cold clothes dryers. And there's all these Mentos tumbling around, and they spray them with over 40 layers of liquid sugar. And that means that not only are they tasty, but the surface gets so bumpy. And that means that when you drop that handful of Mentos into that bottle of Coke or Diet Coke or Coke Zero, as the Mentos drop to the bottom of the bottle, all of that carbon dioxide can grab onto the surface. You get bubbles grabbing onto those bubbles, cascading reaction, it explodes, got all that pressure released, sends the soda flying out the mouth of the bottle.
So the other question you're going to want to know if you're doing it yourself, and really hope you do, is how many Mentos is best? I think I told you already we use 5, but we didn't know that for sure, so we tried a bunch of experiments, so we thought we'd save you the time of doing it yourself. We have a couple of setups here. This bottle has 1 Mentos in it. Let's see what that looks like. 3, 2, 1, pull. So that's 1 Mentos. This next bottle has the exact same setup. It's the same bottle, the same nozzle. The difference is there are 5 Mentos in this geyser. So everything's the same except the number of Mentos. Let's see what this one looks like. 3, 2, 1, pull. Ah, we got a bit of a geyser. Thumbs up. And this one goes to 11. There are 11 Mentos in this tube. 3, 2, 1, pull. All right. Actually got a chance to see what happens sometimes is one of the Mentos gets shot up into the tube and it blocks the rest of them from coming out. So we got a good reaction, but it was so powerful that it shot those Mentos up there. And that can't happen with our show. If you see a geyser on stage that doesn't go off, it's probably because one of the Mentos got blasted back up into the nozzle.
Now, the other big question we get asked is, does it have to be diet soda? Does it have to be Diet Coke or Coke Zero? The answer is no. You can use just about any fizzy beverage, including fizzy beverages that are made for adults. Yes. It works with beer. We have tested this extensively. And in fact, the biggest geysers we've ever seen we made with a German sparkling wine like champagne called Sekt. And Sekt, there was so much carbon dioxide in that, we got geysers that went 50% higher than anything we've ever seen with anything else. But there are 2 very important reasons that we use Diet Coke, Coke Zero, that we use the diet soda pops. First, they do put a little bit more carbon dioxide in the diet sodas. Just a little bit. So you get more power, so you get bigger geysers. Second, most important, there's no sugar. No sugar means it's not sticky. And given that we are about to get soaked to the skin for your amusement, we very much appreciate that it is not sticky. In fact, we will tell you that once, and only once, never again have we done a show with 108 bottles of regular Coke. We got to Cairo. We got to Maker Faire, Cairo. And sure enough, the last minute, they're like, we cannot get Coke Zero. We cannot get Diet Coke. All we have is regular soda. We did it. It was awesome. But at the end of the show, we took our lab coats off and stood them up on the stage. Everything was just crispy. Imagine just taking a bath in sugar water. That is what we did. So, use diet sodas like Diet Coke and Coke Zero. You'll get bigger geysers and less stickiness.
But probably the most important variable that you guys can control when you do your own geysers is surprising, and that is use warm soda. Most of us keep our soda in the refrigerator and it's nice and cold and good to drink. But what happens when something's cold is that means all the molecules are vibrating slowly. And what you want is molecules that are vibrating fast, so when they move, they come shooting out the mouth of the bottle. One of the reasons in Germany that champagne was so big was not only that it was champagne, but it was hotter than Hades that day, and it was sitting in the sun all day long. So when you do your own, the way to heat, well, first of all, do not use the microwave. Okay? But if you want to heat your soda up, just take it out of the refrigerator if that's where it is, put it in your kitchen sink, fill that with the tap, hot water from the tap, let it sit there for a minute and your geysers will be great. But do not use cold soda, it will be very
Taking notes, Chat.
Now, we have one last cautionary tale for you. If you try this yourself, and we know that you will, the one last cautionary tale. Quite a few years ago, bumped into this woman, and she said, "Oh, you're the one.
Tell me your life story.
You're those Coke and Mentos guys. My daughter tried your little Coke and Mentos thing in the car on the way to the airport." My favorite part of the story, she was 16 years old. I was like, "Maddie, no!" She's like, "Well, I didn't think it was gonna work that well." She's like, "Oh, it worked really well." So do try this at home, but wait until you are all the way home. That's the best plan. Now, at the end, we are about ready to start the grand finale. In just a few minutes, up on this stage, there will be 108 bottles of Coke Zero. There will be about this much soda pop left in the bottom of each bottle. It will be warm, it will be flat, and it will have a slightly minty aftertaste. If you would like a souvenir of your time here at Maker Faire Bay Area, give us about 5 minutes after the show. Come on over to the sides of the stage, make a nice orderly line. We will be giving away 108 bottles of leftover flat Coke Zero at the end of the show.
I need it.
Now, one last time, I want to make sure if you're over at the edge of the stage, stay off the stage. Keep your fingers and toes all off the stage, because we're going to come running. We're going to come running right through here. We want to make sure that we don't step on anybody's fingers or toes. Right there. Beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. I think we're just about ready. Are you ready, Steven? Are you ready? Let's make a really big mess.
Should we get a bottle of warm Coke? Alright, that was great. I need to get some sunscreen on.
Coming out to Maker Faire Bay Area. We will be here. Oh, we can let your friends know. We will be back tomorrow at noon and Sunday at noon.
Oh, my arm feels like it was getting a little hot. I feel like we're going to be indoors a lot. So, that was the EepyBird's Coke and Mentos Spectacular. That was amazing. What's this?